Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? You're all doing very, very well. Looks like I've got Michael Myers sitting in my lap. Little baby Myers, little bouncing baby Myers. There he is. Oh, hello. Right folks, it is now Monday the 27th of October 2025, which means we've got, do you count today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's Halloween. So we've got 4 more days till Halloween. Arrgh. We're not doing that infernal jingle jangle, no. But on that note, folks, Big John Carpenter. Big John! Of course, the man who, he didn't create Halloween, as in the festival of Samhain, or Samhain as some people call it, the big Celtic druidic festival, and the hills will run red with the blood of animals and children, all that sort of stuff. He didn't create all that. But his masterpiece was, his master stroke, I should say, was setting the film Halloween, the babysitter murders, on Halloween night, which opened up the whole concept of evil and the bogeyman, and anything could happen. Pumpkins, knives, ghosts, witches, goblins, the whole bloody caboodle. And it's perfect, of course. So he did cinematically set Halloween as a huge sort of motion picture movement, a genre in its own right. And of course, many films have been set on Halloween. Some were set before. Some films before Halloween were set on Halloween. And many films afterwards will be set on Halloween. And of course, choosing an event, Christmas, April Fool's Day, Friday the 13th, all that kind of blabness. But John Carpenter is synonymous with Halloween. And Halloween is synonymous with Michael Myers. So I just wondered, what was Big John Carpenter up to this week? Well, he's actually been very busy. In fact, he's just done a gig the weekend just gone. It's now Monday morning, so Saturday and Sunday just gone. He was playing at the Belasco in LA with his son, Cody Carpenter, and his godson, Daniel Davis, who together they form the John Carpenter Band, the John Carpenter Trio, who have done nothing but release fantastic albums of Lost Themes, volumes 1 to 4, and Anthology and Anthology 2, which you're hearing right now. And the Anthology albums are theme tunes and cues and tracks from his oeuvre of movie soundtracks, just remixed and done slightly differently. I wasn't a huge fan of the first Anthology album. It was all the main themes of the films we know and love, but done with sort of rock guitars coming in. And I love rock guitars, I love rock. I know John Carpenter does, obviously, but the thing is, those soundtracks they were synth-based, minimalist. They weren't grungy, garage, none of that kind of stuff. I didn't kind of take to the main themes being done that way. However, Anthology 2, it's very much more in the minimal and electronic and synth side of things, so it kind of works a lot more, and I enjoy this album a lot more than the first one. But all the Lost Theme stuff I love. So he's been playing last weekend, just gone, and he's playing in the Belasco again on Friday night, Halloween itself, and Saturday night. Saturday will be All Saints Day. So, and he's playing some new stuff as well, because he's got another album, a concept album in the works called Cathedral. And this is meant to be a heavy metal sort of, it's a movie in musical form. That's what he said about it. But there's a definite sort of heavy metal influence upon this. He loves all that stuff as well. But, I just found this down here. I'm still drinking this one. And now I've lost the bottle top. I'll have to keep on drinking it, won't I? Cheers, you all. So, he's busy. But he's got other stuff in the works. Remember a while ago he did that TV anthology thing called Suburban Screams? It was John Carpenter Presents, or exec produced anyway. And he directed one episode. Now, I never saw any of these. I didn't like the idea of it at all. I'd seen the trailers for it, and I'd seen some reviews of them. And what it was, they were all true life crimes set in suburbia, in people's houses, murders and cannibalism and all sorts of weirdness. And he directed one episode, which you think, oh, John Carpenter, back behind the camera. The camera in question he was behind was the Zoom camera on his laptop, because he directed it from his gaming chair back in his house with 10 ciggies in his gob at once and probably a bottle of J&B beside him. And I remember reporting on this at the time. Oh, Big John's back in the director's chair, only he's not really. Call me old-fashioned, but I think a director should be on set. I think, you should be there for spare the moment improv and changes, and to get the feel of the sets and the camera and everything that's going on, not looking down a Zoom bloody picture. How's that going to work? But anyway, he did it, and I heard nothing but lackluster results from that series. If you've seen it, comment below, let me know, because, I'm open to other people's opinions. I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment. But he's got another anthology show in the works, in development. And this one sounds a little bit more intriguing, because it is fictional, and it's set in Alaska, and it's got a diverse group of characters who are each gonna, I've got this written down actually, set in the remote wilderness of Alaska. The first season, that's being optimistic, isn't it? They shouldn't do things like that, because you damn yourself. Our first season will be this. Our second, no, your first season flopped. There won't be a second season. I'm hoping that there will be, but the first season will explore the hidden fears and social anxieties of our time as a diverse group of characters face a chilling mix of supernatural and existential terror. The show aims to channel both Carpenter's visual style and musical sensibility. Well, that sounds good to me. Remote Alaska, you're thinking The Thing? Snowbound blizzard trapped? Yeah. Existential horror? Ooh, that's something for otherworldly. Could be all sorts going on in there. A diverse group of characters? Who knows? He and his wife Sandy King are producing this. It'll have his name, John Carpenter Presents, and however many episodes are in the first season, I don't know. They haven't started filming it yet, for all I know anyway. But the show aims to channel both Carpenter's visual style and musical sensibility. That sounds great, doesn't it? Doesn't say that he's actually going to be scoring it, although I wouldn't be surprised if he did score it. I kind of hope that he does, but you don't know that for a fact, do you? That's not been announced yet. But his visual style, obviously Dean Cundy and Gary Kibbe, was it, who took over from Dean Cundy through the later 80s and into the 90s, cinematography on his movies. Well, the fluid camera work, the prowling Steadicam and all that, the fantastic sort of neon shadows and contrast, all very colourful at the same time, but his visual style is unique and it's definitely Carpenter, and that's been emulated, as well as his musical style, emulated by all and sundry ever since. So they're saying all the right things there. I don't know if he's writing any of it. I don't think he's going to direct any of it, but his name attached to it and they're going for his style. Well, I'm in. At the moment, I'm in. Let's see what happens with it. So, he's also got another album coming out beyond the Lost Themes and the anthology stuff. Remember, was it this year or last year it came out? Death of a Unicorn by a fella called Alex Sharfman. His directorial debut, starring Alan Rudd. I was thinking of Alan Ladd there. Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. And it's a horror comedy, and I have not seen it, folks. I have not seen it, I'm afraid to say. But I don't really want to. I didn't like the idea of it at all. You can't kill unicorns. Have you not seen Legend? And John Carpenter was doing the soundtrack. John Carpenter and Cody Carpenter and Daniel Davis were recruited by Sharfman to do the soundtrack. And I remember at the time they were elated. We've got John Carpenter. It's going to be great. And John Carpenter and co produced an entire score for that movie to then have it rejected at the last minute. Rejected and thrown out. Look, it happens to a lot of movie composers. There isn't one single movie composer, well maybe John Williams, who's not had a score rejected for some reason or whatever. And he was replaced by Dan Romer, who I do know, and someone, this is my writing, but when I was writing the name down before, I thought, how do you pronounce that? It's I think it's Gisu Greco. I give an accent on that, I don't know why. Gisu Greco. Well, I've not heard the soundtrack and I've not watched the movie. I have no interest in it. And to be perfectly honest, when the film was announced, I wasn't asked about the movie at all. But I thought, a John Carpenter soundtrack, well, I'll be buying it regardless. And here's the good news, folks. Carpenter, with a bit of savvy, he kept the rights to the soundtrack. So that's his soundtrack, and he said, I'm releasing it. So we're going to get some more John Carpenter music, an actual film score to a film. You may have seen it, you may not want to see it, like me, but I want to hear the music. Another film that he did fairly recently, which he didn't direct it, was Firestarter, the really woeful remake of Firestarter. Remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was a flicker, not a flame. But his score was really good. I've got the score. And obviously he did the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy. And the best thing about that was, of course, his music. So he's a busy beaver. He got his start on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that. He got given some other award at the back end of last year. I think it was December last year. Like a godfather of horror, something like that. Recognised for his legacy. But you got to remember, like, apart from the Masters of Horror, Cigarette Burns, and the other one, Still Life. I forgot what it's called. He did 2 episodes of the Masters of Horror, and they're very disturbing, very, very out there, and really, really good. But prior to that, his last actual film was The Ward in, I forget when it was, but a long time ago, and Amber Heard, and it's one of those films where if you know your genre, look how bright it's gone over there, Firestarter, Twisted Firestarter. If you know your genre, you know right from the word go. When she goes into that home, it's all in her head. Multiple personalities, it's all in her head. Sorry if you haven't seen it, I've just given the whole game away there. But just even knowing that, like Scorsese's Shutter Island, you know exactly how that was going to end. You knew what the whole story was. Like The Sixth Sense, you have to be completely mentally dumbass, not to know that Bruce Willis is a ghost, that he dies in that opening scene. The very first time you see him with other people, they can't see him. He talks to them, they don't talk back. And there's vapor coming from their mouths because it's gone cold because he's a ghost. I sat there in the flicks, I was like looking at him, are you people dumb? He's dead. Get with the program. Cheers, y'all. But The Ward, I actually really enjoyed it, despite misgivings about Amber Heard. She was all right back then. He didn't do the score for it. And the score was, I've got it, but I've forgotten who did it now. But it's okay. But you kind of want, a Carpenter film should have Carpenter's trademark music. It had its visual style, it had flowing camera work. I forget who did the camera work for that now. It wasn't Dean Cundy. And in fact, as much as I love Big John, he has said some disparaging things about Dean Cundy in the last sort of 18 months or so, regarding The Thing primarily. And I think he's a bit out of order, but he's 77 years old now and a bit crotchety. Mind you, he always was cynical and sarcastic and acerbic and a bit guarded. Very anti-authoritarian. Nothing wrong with that, Big John. Nothing wrong with that at all. But the people that help put you on the map, like Dean Cundy, stick with him, Cheers, y'all. Cheers, John. Cheers, Dean. But yeah, The Ward was okay. And then he sort of went into retirement, unofficial retirement. He exiled himself. He couldn't stand the Hollywood machine, the system, the way that it operates, the way that they give you money and responsibility, but then they enforce their rules upon you and take away all your creativity and leave you floundering. And of course, also budget, schedule. That's why he does his own music. That's why he always did it. Not because he was a musical genius, which we now know that he is, and he doesn't accept that. But he said, I'm cheap and I'm on time, so he always wanted to have a full orchestral score for his movies, but he couldn't afford them. Right, I'll do it, and I'll just use synthesizers, electronic stuff, Moogs. I'll just do that because it's dead simple. I could do it in a room and I record it, it'd be great. But he refused to believe he had any talent for this. He's an absolute devotee of the classical stuff, and Johann Sebastian Bach. He loves Bach, and back and back and back and back again, and he got that from his father. His father, back in Bowling Green, Kentucky, was a violinist, and performed playing the violin as well. And so he reckons, you know, he learned to play the 5/4 rhythm on the bongos, which is where he got Halloween from, of course, very famously. But his minimalist style, that he says he drew it from Bach, but nobody else. But other people have said, people far more learned and scholarly in musical tropes and stylistics have said that no, there's bits of Wagner, there's bits of this, there's bits of, you know, I can't think of anyone else's name now. Note to self, don't take yourself down roads where you don't know anyone's fucking name. All right. But they've said, like, no, you have got something there. And he refuses to believe it. And they say, like, no, you have got a talent. And you're you're working in the range of fifths. Fifths. Difficult way to say when you've been drinking whiskey. Fifths. And you are exultant in it. And Carpenter was like, I don't even know what that means. What fifths of what? I don't know what that is. You know, I just do what I do. So either by some form of osmosis, growing up this kind of music, playing it all the time, it's bled into his system, his psyche, and that's what he comes out with. And of course we know it's genius. To the point where El Maestro himself, the whole world's gone super bright. What's happening? God, supernova. Even El Maestro himself, Ennio Morricone, who Carpenter, with the money from Universal, right, I'm not independent now, I've got a big studio backing me. Wow, The Thing. We all know what happened to The Thing on its initial run. But I've got money. I'll never get him, but what if we could get Ennio Morricone? And they do. They get Ennio Morricone. And what does Morricone do? Instead of supplying a big, rich tapestry of musical, orchestral flavours and symphonic, you know, stylisticness, he listens to John Carpenter's stuff. He didn't know John Carpenter at all, but he listened, probably by watching a couple of the movies like Halloween, The Fog, probably. And like, oh, right, okay, he does that. Just and it's simple, minimalistic. So he works in Italy, Carpenter's in LA, and they talk on the phone via interpreters, translators, and then Carpenter gets the score. And it's like, I'd love to have seen Carpenter's face, because we all love that score now, I know, and it's an absolute unparalleled classic. But Carpenter must have thought, hang on, did I do this in my sleep? Or did Morricone do this? Because that's my music. And of course, historically, Morricone supplied a load of great themes for the movie. Morricone never worked by watching a film and conducting and composing to the film, like a lot of composers do. He gets the script and he has he just thinks about themes and ideas. And of course, he composes massive mammoth-long suites of music, 17, 25 minutes long, which can then be broken up and then sort of refigured for different sequences and scenes. And of course, he's a bloody genius. Well, he was, of course. But Carpenter was like, this is the greatest composer the world's ever known, and I finally got him, and all he's done is copy what I do. But it worked. However, half of the score they didn't use. And I've said this many times. I've got the original vinyl, I've got other versions of it, I've got every bloody version of the thing you can imagine. And there is half that score does not work, it doesn't fit the movie at all. I really, there's some tracks I can't stand. I love Morricone, I've done loads of videos on his stuff all the time. And but there's certain tracks there which are truly god-awful and appallingly bad. I don't know how he even came up with them at all. I don't know what ideas were going through his head. Oh, a guy's stomach opens and becomes a big vaginal dentata and bites a guy's arms off. And Morricone was like, dizzying strings and weird percussion and just crazy warp out stuff. But it didn't work. So Carpenter threw out a good third of the score. And I thought, shit, we haven't got enough music for the movie now. Damn it. So in the end, ironically, he had to go and compose with his longtime collaborator, Alan Howarth, little bits of music to fit in, which are on this anthology. Again, retweaked, revamped. We'll put some here. And they are typical John Carpenter, scene bridging soundscapes, just tonalities which he used to fill out the movie. So that's where the movie soundtrack, people who begin to get to know John Carpenter's movies, they go, he does all the soundtracks. I love his one for The Thing. And you go, well, actually, you get into these little debates. Actually, he didn't compose that. You go, yes, he did. He does all his own movie scores. And you go, well, no, it's Ennio Morricone. Who? Oh, what? And because you've got bits like this and loads of other little sequences where it is his music, and it blends so well into the Morricone stuff. And Morricone didn't. People say like, oh, it's all synthesized. Morricone didn't use synthesizers. It's fully orchestral, but the way he's done it, he's emulating that minimalistic sort of cold, sterile sensibility that Carpenter can evoke. So Carpenter's stingers, his famous stingers and all that. And it's a wonderful soundtrack, of course. And it's a pretty good film as well. Although critics at the time didn't seem to realise that. Funny how they all changed their ways once the film became, a cult classic on home video, and then became revered by all the same critics. And trust me, I fucking know, because I used to get Starburst and Starlog and other magazines, and the first reviews, certain reviewers would say, there's too many characters, they're all intimate, they all got beards, I don't know who anybody is, I don't care about anyone at all. It's just gore for gore's sake. There's no story, no plot, no nothing. And then, a few years later on, like when the film becomes reevaluated and becomes a mega classic, they're all go, it's in their top 10. It's in their top 10 of movies. It's an overlooked masterpiece, neglected. Yeah, you neglected it. You poured scorn on it when it first came out. I saw it when it first came out, and I loved it. And that little fucking turd with the glowing finger, E.T. fucking came along, pissed all over it. Little shitbag. Fuck off home, will you? You want to go home? There's a boot up your ass. Fucking go into orbit, you twat. And of course, who scored E.T.? John Williams. The guy who's never had a score thrown out by anyone. Never rejected. I don't think he has anyway. I'd be bloody well surprised if any of his scores ever did get rejected. So, that's what John Carpenter's been up to. I love Big John. He is very skeletal now. When you look at him, he looks like Lopan, the old Lopan. And I've said this a million times before, I know. From Big Trouble in Little China, he looks like David Lopan. Not the big 7 foot tall glowing thing with the big mad hat and all that, and the eyes and all this, bzzz, and all that. Like, no, not him. The really old one in the wheelchair. Shut up, Mr. Burton. You were not put on this earth to get it. But John Carpenter looks like that, with wispy, long white hair, very wizened. But I still love the guy, and I love talking about him as well. There is no other filmmaker that completely drew me in my most probably formative cinema going years, the late 70s. The likes of Assault and Precinct 13. I love Dark Star as well. So Dark Star, Assault and Precinct 13, obviously Halloween, The Fog, then, Escape from New York. Oh, God, and my world completely changed then. And then The Thing, mind blown. Where else can you go with this? Then Starman and no, I like Starman, don't get me wrong. I love Christine. And of course, the irony is, I mentioned Firestarter, he scored the reboot of Firestarter. He was meant to direct Firestarter back in the day, but he didn't do that one. And he did another Stephen King adaptation, Christine. And Christine is a powerful, wonderful adaptation. It's nigh on perfect. And again, the effects are bloody stellar. Carpenter. He's still the man. I wonder if he's going to direct any of these episodes. I don't know. I didn't write down the names of the people who are doing this show, but John Carpenter Presents. Could be great. Could be a turd. Who knows? The last thing I saw, which was supposed to be Thing related and very John Carpenter inspired, was that True Detective, Night Country with Jodie Foster. Oh my God. That was one of the most dismal, one of the worst things I've seen in recent years. It was risible, long drawn out, and so, just people's individual problems. That's great. If you're Twin Peaks, that's great. But not this. It needed momentum. It needed to keep the mystery going. All these frozen bodies and all that. Like, yeah, that was a great element. But you did nothing with it. It was an absolute fucking travesty. But they so were emulating The Thing and John Carpenter's style without understanding what The Thing and John Carpenter's style is all about. A bunch of school kids who just watched the film once or twice. Oh, let's make a film like that. Oh, but let's have our own story. But we don't know what kind of story. Well, I don't really know. Let's have frozen bodies and an Arctic research station. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And let's have a bit of sex thrown in. Oh, God. And some old mysteries. And it was a load of shit. It really was. I'm ashamed that people talk about that True Detective Night Country in the same breath as The Thing. That's shameful. It really is, because it's an apocryphally crap bloody TV show. So anyway, what should we go on to? Bit more Carpenter. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. They do this every time. I am going to do this. Assault on Precinct 13, a stripped down modern day western, 1976, 77. But it's perfect. The action scenes are great. There's not many of them, but it's a set piece movie. The violence is OTT. Little Kyle Richards getting blown away. Hey, I ordered pistachio. This is plain vanilla. And Frank Doubleday just turns around with the Mauser. Little girl gets blown away. You're like, what? And they attack, a police station, a precinct house. They don't know it's actually been closed down and there's fucking nobody there really. But Darwin Jostin as Napoleon Wilson, I have moments. And this is actually his theme. I'm playing the extended version of the score. Alan Howarth brought out several versions of John Carpenter's scores. Escape from New York, this, The Fog, Prince of Darkness, something else, They Live, Village of the Damned, and Brutal Milk China. But this, he extends some of the tracks. And although he was not working with John Carpenter at the time, he knows John Carpenter's stuff inside. He's got all access to original masters and all that. So there's a better sound quality to his version. I've got the original version. Don't worry about that. I've got the original version, but I do listen to this one more. It's fat. It's fat in a whitbread. It's fat with a pH. It's so thick. Boom, 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 boom. I'll let you listen to it now instead of me going over it. So he extends a lot of the tracks, and I'm of the era of the 80s where the 12-inch mega mixes came out, which in a lot of cases they were just the original song, the 3.5-minute pop ditty, extended by another 3 or 4 minutes with just a lot of. So you get the beginning of the song and the chorus, then you get this huge sort of synthy pop, sort of, huge expansion of just the main theme recurring, and then you get the end of the song at the end of it, but you get some which were genuinely, they took the original song and then really went with it and created an entirely new but much longer version. And I love that sort of thing. This is The Gang, Street Thunder. Listen to this when it kicks in. That was me. This is them just driving around. They've nicked all automatic weapons. They're tooled up. They're on the warpath. The Cholo. Wow. Oh man. It gets right inside your bowel and it starts gripping your bits. He takes it so deep. It's like Beelzebub himself is noodling away on the keyboard, using his horns, you know. And you watch Skip, I saw Precinct 13, and as a kid, when I saw this the first time, like, it came out on British TV very quickly. Very, very quickly indeed, and it's like, wow. Of course, John Carpenter's, you know, would come up, black screen, red letters, red font, and this music would come on. So with the Carpenter film, you've got like sort of an overture at the start, so you, blank screen, just letters, names, you know, and then the music was played all the way through it before anything had even happened, anything had even started. It's just fucking awesome. But we're going to go on to and this, it's like bamboo. It's like someone's hitting bamboo. It's called Second Wave. Another attack. Of course, now they've got somebody, they jailed the convicts, including Darwin Joss, and got them free from the cells. Give them guns and all that, so they can all fight together, because they spent some time with one of those crazy bastards in a cell one time. You know, it means, what's a Cholo mean? Because they deliver like a blood jar and a flag on the deck. It's just being marked for something. Yeah, but what? The Cholo, that's what they call it. And he's going like it's Tony Burton who trains Apollo Creed and then trains Rocky Balboa. It's like, I spent some time in a cell with those crazy young bastards one time. You know, it means they don't care. It means they want to rip us apart. You know, you're like, and again, Carpenter being really super prophetic about the way street crime is going to develop. This was all inner LA, you know, and certain districts were just no-go zones for cops. That hasn't changed. In most cities now around the world, the Western world, you've got this. Okay, they haven't got all automatic weapons. They would be the other people who've got automatic weapons. The ones who shouldn't be here. So this is an extended track. This is all, yeah, the gang is all moving into position to attack the station house. And they're all finding, you know, I'll guard these windows, you guard those windows. You watch the front, you watch the cell block, because they can smash their way through the cell block. And Alan Howard has just really extended this. He's just got them reeds and bamboo fucking sticks. Got to be careful doing that, because that's the kind of noise that attracts cats. I noticed for a fact, I did it when I was a kid, you know, and the cat would come. And I did it the other day with our cat. I hadn't done it before to it. We were lying there in bed and the cat was rampaging around down here. And I went, fucking cat was there within seconds. Whoa, Jesus! It did bring it. You would have thought you'd have come running by now, wouldn't you? Okay, you've had enough of that, because that just carries on like that. Then we get to the windows. Starts off the same, because the one track bleeds into the next one. And this is the gun battle, the big gun battle. But Carpenter's main theme, look, secondary theme, which is a variation of the main theme, comes in. I know, this was about just like, well, this is about nothing. It's about John Carpenter. It's just a celebration of Carpenter in the run-up to Halloween. What's wrong with that? Hey, what's wrong with that? Nothing. That's still too quiet. And that sort of locomotive siren. Oh, it's irresistible, isn't it? Carpenter can't use guns in movies. Not going down for it again. Tony Burton is blasting with a revolver with a silencer on it. Bang, 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 and then realises, you know, only during a later confrontation, you know, he's got no bullets. I've been clicking off empty rounds all night. I didn't even know it because of the goddamn silencer. You've got 6 fucking chambers. You can't keep shooting all night long and think, oh, it's just going to keep going around with bullets in it. Magically, you know, fucking rearming itself. Of course, they remade Assault on Precinct 13. Ethan Hawke and Gabriel Byrne, I can't remember now. Some big stars in it. And the conceit was clever because the ones who are attacking the precinct are actually cops themselves, corrupt coppers. But the film itself, it had none of the style, not the rawness. Carpenter, his original movies, Dark Star, Southern Precinct 13, Elvis the movie, no, not really. Someone to Watch Over Me, no. But Southern Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, they've got a raw quality to them. You can see in Halloween and The Fog, certainly a lot of stylistic stuff was coming in. The visual quality was there. But there was a sense of, you know, maverick, guerrilla style filmmaking. No studio's going to back this. You know, I'm going to make the film I want to make because I'm young and I don't know any difference. And that's how he was. How so many great movie makers, you know, first cut their teeth. And then studios get hold of him. And then they just chop and change and fuck you around. And Carpenter is the poster boy for studio interference and for his vision being robbed from him. And then being pilloried and kicked out of the system. You know. The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China. Nobody understood Big Trouble in Little China. Woeful marketing. Picture of Jack Burton. Like, Jack Burton, who is this man? You know. And that was the campaign. What the? That told nobody. That told you nothing at all. Should have been like Jack Burton on Mars. See what I did there? See what I did there? Right, folks. I have been on with Shelby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, let's just play one more track. Yeah, we're playing the main theme. It's got the reeds and the bamboo again and all that. But look, the sun's come out over the that neo-noir New York from Escape from New York. So I'm off all week now. So you might get a lot more irreverent, just thrown in there videos like this one. And then you're going to get the proper meat on the bones. Because there's a couple of reviews, which I've definitely got lined up. And other stuff. Halloween it's there. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it. It's there. And it's coming for all of us. And if you're in LA, go and watch Big John again. Yeah. And you might hear some of this new stuff, this cathedral stuff. Oh, he said his favourite composers when he's grown up, and he still are his favourite film composers. This is Bernard Herrmann. Oh, I love Bernard Herrmann. The sense of dread, ominous dread, and spellbinding wonder for his Harryhausen movies. Whoa, and Psycho. It's just genius. Cape Fear, dread, suspense. He's a master of it. Dark, foreboding, but really a lot of dark colours, but it's still rich, you know. And his other favourite was Dmitri Tiomkin, who of course scored The Thing from Another World, the original Thing, which Carpenter loves. Tiomkin did a lot of rousing war movies and a lot of westerns and historical period pieces. So he like proper old school composers, could do anything, could command vast orchestras and do any milieu, any drama or situation in any time period. Nowadays, I don't know, are they capable of that? Could Carpenter score an actual western movie? He loves to make westerns, we know this. Vampires is a western, Escape from New York is a western, Sultan Precinct 13 is very definitely a western. But you take these stories back to the 18th century, 19th century, and you put this sort of score on it, not going to work, is it? It might be cool, but it's not going to work. He's wondering about it extended because it should have finished there. But Howard has gone like, no, let's do it all over again. And I don't mind at all. So Carpenter's got another TV show coming out. He's got the album, the score for Firestarter coming out, not Firestarter, for Death of a Unicorn coming out. Don't know when that's going to be. There will be another Lost Themes. There's probably going to be another anthology as well, probably. And he will get more scoring work, I think. I walk around with earphones in, strutting, and this sort of thing, you know, I can strut, you know, anyway, but with this on, I'm even more struttery. I'm massively strut master. I strut so much my hips hurt. And when I get to the pub, I've got to sit down. Oh, he's been strutting again. Yeah. Quick, get this man a whiskey. He's been strutting. It's that whistling, high-pitched sort of siren. It's like a locomotive thundering past. That was like a distant cat being booted off a rooftop. Come on, John. 77's nothing. Nothing, I tell you. You've still got, whatever hair you've got left, you've kept it long. Good on you, mate, good on you. And thumbs, you know, for video games. His thumbs are super active. His other things are used just for ciggies. See, Howarth added that little flourish at the end, that more emphatic flourish. I'm very gesticular, aren't I? As opposed to testicular. I'm very gesticular. I do a lot of that. I've noticed I do this all the time. I'm point. And you know what? You know, I hate people that do that. I genuinely hate people that are, you know, finger pointers and finger wagglers. I hate them. And I've become one. I do it more than they do it. What's going on? I can't control. I want to see those fingers. When do you want to see those fingers? You know? Right, folks, I'm definitely out of here now. It's got too bright. It's meant to be a Halloween video. This is way too bright for that. So, folks, in the meantime, as ever, Big John is still king. In between time, please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all What? Not on behind me.